humiliated the old woman. In fact, they signed their own sentence. When I picked up my grandmother's call, all I could hear was that fragile, shaking kind of sob you never want to hear from someone you love. She was sitting in her car outside a burger barn, trying to explain what had just happened. All she'd wanted was a small black coffee, something she's ordered the same way every morning for 20 years, ever since my grandfather passed. But apparently, the teenagers working there had other plans. She said she stood at the counter for nearly 5 minutes before a cashier, a girl with neon purple hair and a phone glued to her hand, finally looked up. When my grandma asked for a small black coffee, the girl rolled her eyes and rang up a giant caramel milkshake instead. When grandma politely corrected her, the girl called over a manager, a kid who looked about 19, with more acne than facial hair and a smirk that screamed trouble. He told my grandma she was confused and should speak louder. She repeated herself small, black, coffee. They handed her a Coke. When she brought it back, another worker started filming her on his phone, laughing about getting another Karen video for TikTok. My grandmother, who still writes thank you cards in perfect cursive and calls strangers dear, didn't even know what TikTok was. She asked for her coffee one last time. They gave her chocolate milk. Now there were 3 employees gathered around, all filming, all laughing. One of them actually said, "Come on, lady, freak out already so we can go viral." They wanted her to lose it. Instead, she just walked out in tears and called me saying, "If your granddad were here, he'd make sure I got my coffee and my dignity." I told her to go home. I'd take care of it. The next morning, I showed up with my friends Rocco and Gabe, guys I've known since high school, the kind who will always have your back. They went in first, wearing hoodies and ski masks. I followed 30 seconds later in a sharp suit, looking like I had just stepped out of a courtroom. The same purple-haired girl was at the counter, and her eyes went wide when she saw my friends. Rocco leaned in and said in a low voice, "You know Mrs. Dottie? Sweet old lady who comes here for coffee?" She nodded fast. "That's our boss's mother," Gabe said. "Yesterday you disrespected the wrong family." I stepped forward, adjusted my tie, and spoke calmly but firmly. "Mrs. Dottie is going to come back here for her coffee, and you're going to treat her like royalty. Every single time. Because if she ever calls me crying again..." I let the sentence hang while Rocco cracked his knuckles, the sound echoing in the quiet restaurant. The teenage manager stumbled out from the back, his face pale. Everyone nodded like bobbleheads. We walked out without ordering a thing. That afternoon, I told Grandma maybe she should give Burger Barn another try. She was hesitant, but went. An hour later, she called me sounding 10 years younger. They'd given her free coffee, a warm blueberry muffin, and the manager had personally carried her tray to a table, calling her ma'am the whole time. She said it was the best service she'd had in years. I don't know if they thought we were actual mobsters or just very serious coffee enthusiasts, but they've been treating her like a queen ever since.